Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here before, well, my name is Jennifer Diamond, and I'm a certified plant-based nutrition coach living a whole food, plant-exclusive, sos-free, gluten-free lifestyle for health and well-being. And it literally changed my life. It gave me my life back, and it can do wonders for you. And so I wanted to bring you along and show you how I make pumpkin pie bites. Yay! So pumpkin pie bites are these delicious bites that you can make any size, and they kind of trick you, right? Because you think they're raw, but they're not. They're cooked and gooey and delicious. And so today we're gonna make them together. So the first thing you're gonna wanna get, or I'm gonna get, right, is a large bowl. And then to the bowl, we're gonna add a few ingredients. The first thing I'm gonna get is some pumpkin puree. Now this one is in a can. It's a 15-ounce can. I often have pumpkin in my freezer, and I did have some, but just not enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and use it out of the can. You wanna make sure that it's pumpkin puree, not pumpkin pie filling. That's different. And you can tell by always double checking the ingredients list. And so I will show you that. But this one just says organic pumpkin puree. And so if you, let me grab a spatula. There we go, look at that. So we want to get all this pumpkin puree out. And if you check the back of your can, if you're getting it out of a can, you might see other things in the ingredients list. And then you know this is not the right one for me. But I'll show you now ingredients. Literally, this one says organic pumpkin puree. And that is what we want. The pumpkin pie filling has other ingredients in it. And so don't be fooled, okay? So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this. And then we are gonna add some plant milk. You can use any plant milk. Yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna go ahead and pour some plant milk in here. This is about half a cup. And the one that I'm currently using today is this Pacific brand. This is the one that they had at the store. It's organic almond milk. It's unsweetened. And so it does have a couple things in it. Not my favorite choice. I normally really like to use the soy milk. I get a soy milk that just is literally water and soy beans. But so whatever works for you, but check the ingredients always and make sure that you know what you're ingesting, even if you're familiar with a brand, because they change them up. So that's the next thing. And then we're gonna add some sweetness. So I have got 3/4 of a cup of maple syrup. I'm doing that, yep. And that is a wonderful sweetener that I use sometimes in place of any like processed sugars or refined sugars or any sugar, frankly, that isn't natural. And then we are going to set this aside. I want to talk about some pumpkin pie spice, and that's another thing that I want to add in here, but I set this aside because I want to show you. For a while I was using this Trader Joe's pumpkin pie spice, and that's great. I ran out and I thought, instead of buying another one, why don't I just use the spices that I have? And so what I wanted to do is show you what I used and what I made. And here it is. Yeah, my spice mix. I added some ground clove, some ground cinnamon. I'm using the Ceylon cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, lemon rind powder. Now I made this myself. I took lemons after I used the inside of them, and I peeled off, well, I probably peeled it off first, the rind, leaving the pith. I didn't use the pith. And then I put it in my Excalibur dehydrator, and then I ground it up in the dry mix Vitamix container, and I have lemon rind. So I added that, and then I also added some nutmeg. Now I buy these whole nutmegs, and I just want to show you what that looks like. Here's a whole one. This is the one I've been working on. And then I just take a microplane and I just grate it. That's it. And so what I'm gonna do now is mix them all up. I used to have this little teeny tiny whisk that I was gonna use, but I can't find it. So I'm just gonna take this spoon and I'm just gonna mix it up. And there you go. You could even taste it if you want and decide if you need more or less of something. It is nice and convenient to have blends already ready to go, and you can check out Savory Spice. They've got amazing ones. I wish that I lived really close by so that I could have ran over and gotten some pumpkin pie spice from them, but I didn't realize that I was low and I didn't get a chance to place an order. So I already had these things, and so I went ahead and just mixed it up myself. And then I'm gonna pour this all in here, going right into the bottle. There we go, look at that. And just like that, we are ready to measure. So we are going to move this out of the way. And I want 4 teaspoons of this stuff. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, and these are a little bit heaping, so 4. There we go. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so then go back to taking your bowl of your wet ingredients that we have so far and go ahead and pour in all the pumpkin pie spice that we have. And well, this isn't the spatula of choice, but it's in the bowl, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it. And we're just going to wanna blend, blend, blend. And we're also gonna wanna take a minute to turn the oven on to 350. You're gonna wanna preheat your oven, but I didn't do that, so we just did it together, and now I'm just gonna continue. You could use a whisk. That would be really great and probably way better than this piece here, so I think I'm gonna switch to the whisk, but a spoon, anything will really do. I like a whisk because it really does help blend it much easier and faster and more thoroughly. There you go, look at that. Doesn't that look nice? Smells good. I can smell the pumpkin already, and I haven't even done anything with it. And the spice blend, not super strong, the spice blend, but I know it's in there. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to set this aside, and we're gonna take another bowl. This one is going to be for our dry ingredients. And so let me move some of this out of the way and we will be able to reach everything. Okay, so with this bowl, we're gonna be adding some dry ingredients. I've got some almond flour. I'm gonna go ahead and add this. This is just a half a cup of almond flour. And then I am also going to be adding some rolled oats, except I went ahead and blended them up so that we could have some rolled oat flour. And so that I did in the dry mix container. Check it out. And we're gonna do 1.5 cups of this. And I already pre-measured it beforehand, but I like to measure it again because sometimes it doesn't measure out the same. So let me grab a measuring cup. Just to do it. And as you see, this is pretty much the right amount. So if I pushed it down a little bit, it would fit perfectly. So I am just gonna go ahead and use that. But I just wanted to show you that, you know, sometimes you can measure it and it's one way, and then when you grind it up, then it measures another way, and sometimes it's perfect. The next thing we're gonna use is baking soda and baking powder. Put that in there. put that right in there. And then again, we're gonna mix this up. Now this is already wet, so I'm not gonna use it. I'll just get the Happy Face spatula that I love. Okay, and we're just gonna mix this up together. That's it, it's dry. We're just gonna toss it. We just wanna blend it up the best that we can and set it aside. Now, I also have some pecans. You don't like pecans? Leave pecans out. You like pecans? Leave them in. You want a different nut? That's perfectly fine. Walnuts would be amazing in this, but I have a cup of pecans. You could even go up to 1.5 cups if you really, really love it. And these I got at Costco in a big, container. And they come, ready to go. But they're a little too big for me. So I want to get a knife and I want to chop them. And so you could certainly put this in a food processor and pulse it for a few minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and hand chop it. And I like to force gently, not chop hard, because then we'll have pecan nuts all over the house, and we don't want that. So go ahead and just give it a rough chop, and think of it in terms of bites, right? If you have a little pumpkin pie bite, how do you want this? Do you want a big chunk of this? Probably not. So I just want to take it and just chop it up pretty well. A little more than a rough chop. All right, so I think that's pretty good. And now what I'm gonna do is just take these chopped pecans and put them back in the bowl. And there's still a couple pieces that I think could be cut up, but look for the most part, there you go. And this is perfect timing because the oven is ready. So the next thing we're gonna do is grab our vessel that we're gonna cook this in, and we are using this Pyrex dish. You could use a little bit of a bigger one if you want. I don't know how much this one is. It doesn't have the measurements on it, but I've measured it before. It's a little bit bigger than an 8 by 8. I think it's like a 6.5 by a 9 something. But anyways, a small one. And Gina S. had told me about using parchment paper in a way that, when I line it, it doesn't always hold, but she said, crumple it up, open it up, and then it will be ready for you. And I appreciate her tips and tricks and things that you guys teach me. I really do appreciate, and thank you so much, because it helps me learn, and then I can pass it on to maybe somebody else that didn't know as well. So I want to line this. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead. Hold on. Now I'm going to go ahead and dump this right in here. Look at that. Liquidy, liquidy, liquidy. So make sure that your parchment paper doesn't fold over and then you get it half in and half out, because I've done that before. And it's not a big deal. All I do is pour it back in the bowl, but this is much better. So let's go ahead and get every last bit out. Let me scrape every last bit out that I can, because I like every last drop. And I don't want to waste it. Nice. Okay. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pecans. I'm just going to use my hand, and I'm going to grab a handful, and I'm going to just put it in there. Just kind of pour it in there. Handful or two. It doesn't matter really, but I'm going to leave a little bit for the top. Okay, and it's fine that it's floating on there because we're going to be changing this up. You'll see we're going to be blending everything. And so now that we have those two things, we're going to take the dry mix and we're going to pour it right on top. right on top, the whole thing, even if it seems like it's not gonna fit. And then you just wanna spread it out and cover it best that you can. Don't wanna push down on it because there is liquid underneath it. There we go. And then we could just take the last bits here and put them on top. There is a possibility that these can brown up, so, and even burn, but I just like the little bits of the different texture with the ones that are underneath versus the ones that are on top. And that's it. So the oven is preheated. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in there. We're gonna cook it for 50 minutes, 50. I'm gonna clean up and we'll be back. All right. And I'm back, and you're back too. It's been 50 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and take that out of the oven with you. It smells really good. Oh my goodness. Wow, look at this. Okay, so if you take a look, it's too hot for me to hold, but you can see that it's bubbling here on the edges. That's a good sign. You can see that. Let's see if I could just show you. There you go. And what we're gonna wanna do is we are gonna wanna set it aside and let it cool for about 20 minutes. Just so that it's not so hot when we touch it. And then we are going to do another step. So let me set this aside, and I'm gonna actually put it right behind us and let it cool there. And while we're waiting for that to cool a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and make it's not really a topping, but we're gonna roll it. We're going to end up forming this into little balls, and then we're gonna roll the balls in this topping. And so we're just gonna set the topping up. And it's two things, super simple. We're using date sugar, which is not real sugar, but it's actually dehydrated dates that are then processed into, let's see, it says organic dried ground dates. So they take the dates, they dry them, and then they grind them, and they call it date sugar. So we're gonna get a 1/4 cup of this. Something that I notice about date sugar, it's like I'm fairly new to it. It sometimes has these little clumps in it. And when I leave the clumps alone, they don't really, you know, like flatten out. So I'm gonna wanna kind of take these, see these like clumps? And I'm just either use your finger or a fork or something. And I'm just gonna kind of go in here and just kind of squish them, squash them, squish them. There you go. And you could just see, it's not a big deal. It, you know, unclumps very simply, but I'm gonna rinse my hand and then we're gonna add the second ingredient. And the second ingredient is more of our pumpkin pie spice. And I'm just gonna take a tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice and I'm gonna add it here. Whoa, and that's exactly what I have left. And if I need more, then if I run out of this, then I'll just make another combination of the 1/4 cup of date sugar and 1 tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice, which I'll have to blend some more if I need that. But the reason that I decide not to double it or triple it right up the front, at the beginning is because I don't want to waste it. And if I find that I don't need that much, then I won't have a lot of leftover. And then you just literally just mix it up. And we're ready. This is ready to go. So I just want to mix this up. And I'm using the measuring spoon because I already got it dirty, but you could use a regular spoon or you could put the lid on if you have a container that has a lid and shake it up. And there you go. There you go. And that is going to be wonderful. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to be back in about 15 minutes, just long enough to let this cool a little bit. And then we are going to get it out of there and I'm going to show you what's next. So I'm going to grab a bowl and I'll be right back. All right, I've got a big bowl, and I've also got another container. I'm using a pie dish. You can use a plate, you can use a square dish, any dish you want, but this is where I'm going to put the finished product, and so whatever shape you want to do will work. What am I talking about, right? I haven't even shared with you exactly what we're doing, but I am going to go ahead and take this beautiful baked pumpkin, right? And we've been letting it cool, and I just want to lift it up with the parchment paper and dump the whole thing into this bowl. Yes, it is supposed to look like this. This is not ruined. This is definitely how you want it to look. But I am going to go and grab a spatula so that I can scrape off the goodies off of there. And we want all of this goodness in the bowl. It smells really good. If you like pumpkin and pumpkin pie spices, that's what I'm smelling. And just do your best. It's still hot, you know, because underneath, but it's not as hot as in the oven. And I am just going to do what I have to get the last little bits. There we go. Okay. And now I'm just going to want to mix this all up and incorporate everything together. The nuts on the top, the nuts in the middle, the wet ingredients, the dry ingredients. And it should look like more of like a cookie dough. So don't be alarmed if you're wondering, oh my gosh, it's ruined. It's not. There we go. And now that it's mixed up, it's still pretty hot. So I want to go ahead and let it cool almost all the way. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take these melon balls. I've got two different ones. I like the 1-inch one, but whatever you prefer, I might go with the bigger one. And what we'll do is we will shape them and we'll roll them into a ball, and then we'll be coating them with this. And that's it. Just be a little more patient as it cools down. We'll be back. And so let's get started. So this is pretty cold, and I've just continued to mix it up a little bit. And then you can use kitchen gloves. I've taken my rings off, or you could go ahead and even put a little wetness, a little water on your hands, just like this. Just so that they're a little wet. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I think I'm going to try both of them. We'll see which one we like. And then I want to go ahead and dump it right into this topping that we had and just kind of smush it around and coat it the best that I can. There we go. There we go. And there you have it. And that's what I'm going to do. And you know what? It seems like it's not holding its shape as well as it normally does. And I wonder if that is because it's still a little warm. So you can let it get all the way. You can even, frankly, refrigerate it and then come back and do the coating. But you know me, I want to finish this up with you. I get excited. And so I'm going to go ahead and continue to just do it this way. You can even take a spoon or your fingers and go ahead and coat this. And here we go. We have our finished product here. And you can see that they're just cute little balls. Sweet pumpkin pie bites. You can serve them just like this. You can refrigerate them. You can even freeze them. But upon serving them, make sure that you thaw them out from the freezer into the refrigerator and enjoy. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you taking the time to enjoy learning about a new way to enjoy pumpkin pie during this season. So don't forget to eat your greens and give plants a chance. And if there's anything I can do at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to thejenniferdiamond.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.